I only accidentally liked a post on the fiancé of the CEO's moments. I didn't expect that very night he'd hold an emergency meeting. Using the excuse that I was disturbing the company atmosphere, he docked my entire month's salary, and then immediately gave the new assistant a luxury car worth $1 million. Everyone looked at me with sympathy. They thought I would lash out in a frenzy. But I calmly packed up all my things at my workstation and handed in my resignation right in front of him. Just docking a colleague's salary for bullying isn't enough. I voluntarily resigned. As soon as I said that, the young assistant, Han Yu-young, James, how can you resign over such a small matter? You've been at the company for so long, and Mr. Lin has always treated you so well. You resigning like this in front of everyone. How will people view him? Mr. Lin, come persuade James too. Lin Amon originally wanted to persuade me, but after hearing what Han Yu-young said, she flared up too. Persuade him for what? If he wants to leave, then let him leave. I stand upright and act righteously. I'm not afraid of what anyone has to say. Zhuan Ji took my resignation letter. After signing it, he flung it right in my face. The onlooking colleagues all stared at me, waiting to watch the drama unfold. But I didn't argue like I used to. Instead, I remained calm and picked up an egg from the ground. I'll leave after I finish the handover. No need for a handover. If you want to leave, go now. He had eaten so much antelope bow. As if suddenly remembering something, he spoke again in a cold, bone-chilling tone. I've never made it up to you. Strong and firm. Colleagues who had a good relationship with me tried to persuade me to admit my fault and bow my head. Don't act on impulse. They all understood. This company was something I built from the ground up alongside Lin Anwan, back when the company lacked funds. I drank myself sick, vomiting blood just to pull in investors when the business couldn't deliver. I led a small team to work 3 nights straight. Every operation, I poured my heart and soul into it. Leaving now is like giving up everything, but my mind was made up. I gave them a final glance, then packed my things and turned to leave. Before I walked out, I clearly saw Lin Anwan. A flicker of complexity flashed across her beautiful face. I knew she thought I wouldn't really go. We had countless fights in the past because of Han Yu-young. The worst time, Lin Anwan scolded me in front of everyone. She gave him my entire annual bonus as compensation. I was so angry I nearly blacked out. But when it came time to leave, I still held back. Pretended like nothing had happened. Went back to her and softened my tone. Then got back to work like always, pretending none of it ever took place. She thought I'd convince myself to stay again this time. But what she didn't know was that I had already run out of patience with her. Just as I walked out of the company, a text message came through. I opened it. It was a transfer from a friend. This morning when Lin Anwan said the company wasn't doing well, and that she had to cut my salary, my first reaction was to worrying about her feeling too much pressure. I immediately reached out to a friend and borrowed $500,000. Originally, I planned to give it to her, but instead, I accidentally saw a post Han Yu-young made on Moments, and only then did I realize Lin Anwan's true intentions. But at that moment, to my surprise, I felt incredibly calm inside. Not sad, not jealous to the point of madness. Maybe because it had happened too many times. That Lin Anwan always chose Han Yu-young. She had done too many outrageous things to me. So many that I could hardly tell anymore whether I was her boyfriend or Han Yu-young was. I returned the money to my friend and apologized to him. Then I walked to the parking garage. Found that beat-up little car I'd driven for 10 years. Its paint was chipped in several places. Parked right next to it was a brand new Porsche, the very same one Lin Anwan had just given to Han Yu-young today. There were plenty of open spots in the garage, but he just had to park right here. It was clearly a provocation aimed at me. I had been with Lin Anwan for 10 years. but I couldn't compare to Han Yu-young, who had only been here 10 months. I let out a bitter laugh at myself, then without further hesitation, I stepped on the gas and left the company I had worked at for years. But just as I exited the company gate, someone rear-ended me. I got out of the car and saw that stepping out of the car behind me were Lin Anwan and Han Yu-young together. "James, why'd you brake so suddenly?" I didn't even have time to react, Han Yu-young said as he walked up, looking heartbroken at the dented front of his car. "What a shame! This was personally picked out by Miss Lin." Lin Anwan's face grew darker and darker. "James, back in the garage. I saw you staring at Yu-young's car. Be honest, was it on purpose? You knew he was behind you and slammed the brakes on purpose." I almost laughed at the absurdity. Here we go again, blaming me without figuring out what actually happened. Han Yu-young let out a sigh. "Forget it, Miss Lin. Let's not blame James anymore. It's normal for him to be mad at me. After all, he lost his job because of me. In the end, it's all my fault. If only I could have done more." As he spoke, he clenched his fist in frustration and swung it toward his forehead. But just before hitting himself, he deliberately held back, pretending to hit. Yet Lin Anwan couldn't see through the act. She gently rubbed his forehead, hard, aching for him. Her voice tender, "It's not your fault. Don't shoulder everything on your own." Then she turned to me and jabbed my forehead hard. "Can't you learn from Yu-young a little? Take some responsibility. He at least knows how to stay humble. You've worked for so many years, and you're still this immature and arrogant." She shoved me back against the wall. Once I collected myself, I found it somewhat funny this past year. Han Yu-young had been stealing my credit, playing tricks and manipulating people. Now he was praised as humble and responsible, while I had become the childish, arrogant one. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. Turned around and tried to leave, but Lin Anwan stopped me again. I thought she was going to defend Han Yu-young again, but she actually pulled me aside and said earnestly, "James, I expect a lot from you. That's why I've always been strict with you. Why can't you understand that?" Listening to her soft voice, I felt confused for a moment, but I quickly saw through her intentions. Lin Anwan patted my shoulder, calm and affectionate. "I'll take back your resignation. Think it over carefully. Apologize to Yu-young, and also about the rear-end incident you're fully responsible. Whatever the damages cost, transfer it to Yu-young." I snapped out of it. Looked up at Han Yu-young. He probably already knew exactly what Lin Anwan was going to say. There was a smug look on his face, and he even rolled his eyes at me provocatively. I let out a cold laugh. "I'm not paying for it. If you rear-end someone, you take the blame yourself. If that's a problem, call the cops. Anything else, I'm leaving first." I turned around and walked away. Lin Anwan stomped her feet angrily behind me. "I already gave you a chance. Don't come back regretting it." "I won't regret it." I got back into my car, sent a message to my friend. "I quit. I can start working at your company tomorrow." Not even half a second later, my friend called me back. His tone was full of surprise. "Are you serious?" He sounded unsure of himself. "What about Lin Anwan?" Back then, he and Lin Anwan had started their businesses around the same time. My friend had abundant resources and offered very attractive terms. He promised me higher shares and profits, hoping I'd join to help him out. Even after finding out about my relationship with Lin Anwan, he made a rare exception and offered to let me work part-time. But I still turned him down because of Lin Anwan. She once saved my life when I was at my lowest. For her, I gave up everything, poured my entire heart into building our business, helped her company grow step by step. But now looking back, she doesn't seem to care at all. And after all these years, I've more than repaid the debt I owed her. There's no reason for me to keep sacrificing myself. From now on, I'll make decisions for myself. I chatted with my friend a bit more. We confirmed the time to sign the contract. Then I drove home to pack up. I paid for this apartment in full, but it was filled with memories of me and Lin Anwan. I didn't want to live here anymore. I started cleaning under the bed and found a stack of paintings. The girl in the paintings was Lin Anwan, lonely, melancholic, peeling apples, putting on makeup, all portraits I once drew for her. She used to really love them, treated each one like a treasure, framed them and stored them carefully. But ever since Han Yu-young appeared, he started saying painting was a waste of time, that it was better to just take a photo with a camera. He tossed those words under the bed along with the sketches. The paper had yellowed and wrinkled with age. The portraits had faded too. I let out a bitter laugh, then threw them all into the basin in the bathroom. Lit a match, the fire devoured the paintings, till nothing was left but a handful of ash, just like our love, burned to nothing without either of us realizing it. After doing that, I kept cleaning, throwing out anything unnecessary. I didn't know much, but the room suddenly felt much more empty and spacious. I flopped down onto the sofa, picked up my phone, planning to look for a rental near my friend's company. But the moment I tapped open the app, I saw a new photo posted by Han Yu-young in the company group chat. It was a photo of him and Lin Anwan together. The background was the arcade. She was hugging a pile of stuffed animals, smiling brightly at the camera. That smile was so radiant. I hadn't seen her smile like that in a long time. When I took her to the arcade before, she had barely stepped inside, glanced around at the games, then turned and left, called me childish, said she was too busy, didn't have time for things like that, said it was all just boring nonsense. She didn't have time for me then, but she had time to be there like a child with him now. I scoffed. It wasn't that she thought I was childish. She just didn't like me anymore. In the group chat, coworkers all began gushing with praise, saying the photo looked amazing. Someone even complimented the photographer's skills. A few even joked, asking if the two of them were about to announce something. Everyone in that group knew I was Lin Anwan's boyfriend, but they still dared to make jokes like that. All because at work, Lin Anwan never once tried to hide her flirtation with Han Yu-young. If it were the old me, I probably would have gotten angry again. I would have called Ling Yang Wang and told him to watch his boundaries. But now, I just felt calm, pretended I hadn't seen anything, and went back to doing my own thing. Who would have thought just 2 minutes later, several messages in the group chat had been retracted. The first being the one Han Yu-young posted. The photo had been deleted too. I thought Lin Anwan wouldn't come home until late at night again. But not long after, she walked into the living room with a phone pressed to her ear, still on a call with Han Yu-young. Her face lit up with joy. When she saw me, she looked guilty for a split second. Then her expression turned cold. She even rolled her eyes at me on purpose, then pushed the bedroom door open and went in. I knew she was waiting for me to coax her. Every time we had a disagreement at work, I was always the one thinking of ways to apologize, begging for her forgiveness. Even when she was the one in the wrong, I'd swallow my pride and admit fault anyway. I used to think that was what I was supposed to do, whether it was to repay her kindness or to preserve this relationship. But now it all just felt pointless. I lowered my head and continued with what I was doing. Soon enough, she came out of the room with a dark expression. "Did you see the message in the group chat?" "What message?" I asked, feigning ignorance. Didn't even look up. But I could feel her let out a quiet breath of relief. Nothing, just a work message that got sent to the wrong chat. I couldn't even be bothered to expose her lie. I was just wondering, how many things between her and Han Yu-young had she hidden from me? Things I still had no idea about. Is Leon's car fixed? What about yours? I didn't answer. So Lin Anwan spoke again. I knew she was trying to offer me a way out. If this were before, I would have taken it as a sign that she forgave me. and eagerly tried to please her. But now, I didn't even look up. That broken down car isn't worth fixing. There's nothing worth repairing on it. Lin frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I looked up at her in confusion, not understanding what she was dissatisfied with. That car had gotten scratched up so many times before. Every time I said I'd fix it, she'd just give the same dismissive response. I thought she was about to lose her temper again. But unexpectedly, she just exhaled. I know you're still upset about what happened at the company, but Yu Yang's performance has actually been pretty decent lately. I gave him the car to try and keep someone talented like him around. When I heard that, I almost laughed out loud. Han Yu Yang was brought into the company by Lin Enwan through favoritism. She bent the rules just to hire him. His work performance was an absolute mess. He made more mistakes than I could count on both hands. From minor things like offering plain water to clients during meetings, while ordering milk tea for himself, to major blunders like sending the base price sheet instead of the actual quote list to our partners, which cost the company hundreds of thousands in losses. Keeping him was worse than keeping a beau. If I didn't already know how things worked inside the company, I might have actually believed her. I didn't say a word. Then Lin added, "You're my boyfriend. When we get married, won't the company be yours too? Why get so hung up on a little salary difference? Why do you have to make such a big deal out of it? Everything I do is for the company's benefit. I just don't want the other employees to think I'm showing favoritism." But I knew perfectly well those were just excuses. Inside the company, everyone knew exactly how Lin Enwan treated me compared to Han Yu Yang. The project I had stayed up 3 nights to finish. On a whim, she handed it off to Han Yu Yang. He just made a single PowerPoint, and it became Han Yu Yang's achievement. I had been negotiating with the client for days and was close to signing the contract. He used my name, took Han Yu Yang to have dinner with the client, and the contract was suddenly credited to Han Yu Yang. Things like this were too many to count. Over time, other colleagues started to think Lin Enwan favored Han Yu Yang more. Some even believed she didn't like me at all. Because of this, I endured many cold stares and bullying at the company. She saw it all but pretended not to. I didn't want to explain myself. After all, even if I did, she'd just say I was making excuses. I replied indifferently, "You don't need to tell me these things. I have nothing to do with the company anymore. Whatever you want to do, just do as you please." Lin didn't say anything. In the end, she sighed, walked up to me, tiptoed and wrapped her arms around my neck. Her breath warm like orchid petals. "Actually, I have selfish reasons too. I wanted you to take some time off these days, so you could think about our wedding. When do you plan to propose to me?" She asked with a mocking smile. But I'd already proposed many times before. Every time she turned me down. Every time we fought, she would bring up marriage to appease me again. Sometimes I didn't feel like her boyfriend at all. More like a dog she led around in circles. I stayed silent. Lin, as if teasing a dog, scratched my chin lightly. "Don't be mad. Give me a smile, will you?" As she spoke, she acted like she was trying to please me, leaning in toward me deliberately. And again, I caught the scent on her. The cologne that belonged to Han Yu Yang. It made my stomach turn. I shoved her away, frowning in disgust, then pulled out a wet tissue to wipe my hands. Lin stood there like she'd been struck by lightning, frozen in place, stunned. "You're disgusted by me. I still have something to do at the gala tonight. I'm going to change first." After saying that, I turned and headed back to my room. She tried to follow me, but I didn't hesitate to shut the door and lock it from inside. "Jackson, you better not regret this." She really sounded angry this time. After throwing out her threat, she kicked the door hard and stormed off in a fury. When I came out of the room later, the living room was already empty. In the company group chat, Lin had posted a message saying she was treating everyone to dinner. and asked who wanted to join. The group went completely silent. Only Han Yu-young replied with 3 excited emojis in a row. I knew Lin was doing it on purpose to provoke me. It wasn't the first or second time either. She always did this. Other colleagues didn't want to go. Only Han Yu-young was enthusiastic as ever. If this had been before, I would have followed out of jealousy and ended up being mocked by both of them. Now I couldn't be bothered. I changed and went to check the apartment I planned to rent. After confirming everything was fine, I paid the rent, then contacted a real estate agent to sell my current place. This apartment was bought with my own money. I had personally overseen the entire renovation, but the property deed bore Lin's name. Back then, we didn't have much. To give her a sense of security, I used all my savings to buy this home. Now that the company had expanded, this apartment probably wasn't even worth Lin's attention anymore. The agent said she needed to be present to sell the place. If she couldn't make it, I'd need her to sign a power of attorney. So I sent her a message. A red exclamation mark popped up in the chat window. He blocked me. He used to do that too. Whenever we fought badly, Lin would block me and leave the house. I worried about his safety and would humbly borrow someone else's phone to call him, asking him to unblock me. He'd act all high and mighty on the other end and ask if I had it. Looking back, I've said countless insincere things to appease him. After thinking it over, I still called him, told him I'd come back tonight, had something to discuss. What is it? I'm busy. His voice was cold. I bit my lower lip. Let's talk when I get back. Lin was steady as ever. You push me away, I'll step back. But now you want me to come back, so I'm coming back. Jackson, do I owe you anything? So this is your way of apologizing? Have I been too good to you lately? You've forgotten how to say sorry. I lowered my voice as usual. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I've come back so many times already. Coming back once more won't hurt. And this time, my apology might even get me the house. As expected, Lin's tone brightened a bit. Wait for me, he said, and hung up. I felt calm inside. Posted the house online to sell it as soon as possible. I even lowered the price deliberately. After finishing that, I contacted a friend to sign the contract. My friend was so excited, kept asking if I was dreaming. Even held a celebration dinner specially for it. I wanted to go home early, but then I thought, I didn't know when Lin would be back. Coming home early wouldn't hurt, so I agreed. After a few rounds of drinks, when I went to the restroom, I heard a familiar voice from the next private room. Ready for the next segment. Whenever you are. I stopped in my tracks. Peering through the narrow crack of the door, I saw Lin nestled in Harry's arms. I didn't know what they were saying. Lin smiled so brightly it seemed like flowers were blooming all over her. Harry quickly took the chance to lean down and kissed her on the lips. Lin froze on the spot, but didn't push him away. Lin, when are you and Jackson breaking up? I can't wait to be with you. Do you know how painful it is to see you with him every day? Do you still prefer Jackson more? Harry said helplessly. Lin moved her lips, as if wanting to say something. But in the end, Harry interrupted, patting his back lightly like a child. In my heart, how could he compare to you? It's just that now the company is bigger. Breaking up with him and being with you. I'm afraid of what others might say and how it might affect you. So just wait a little longer. It won't be long. So that's how it is. I knew Lin loved me the most. They cuddled closely, just like a couple. I scoffed and stopped watching. Back in the private room, I drank a few more cups. Everyone reminisced about the past. The party didn't end until dawn, when we entered the underground parking lot. My friend pulled me toward a fully loaded Porsche, asked if I liked it. I nodded, clueless, thinking it was the car he just bought. Praise was on the tip of my tongue. But instead, my friend shoved a set of car keys into my hand. For you, your old car is falling apart. I couldn't stand it anymore. So here's a new one for you. I was about to refuse. He wanted to hear what I'd say. He even knew. I heard Lin gave a car to the new guy at the company. With his lousy skills, he can still drive a luxury car. Of course, you can't be worse than him. Speaking of which, I saw what that newbie made. His style changes all the time. Clearly, it's plagiarism. I really don't understand how he still stays at the company. Maybe it's because of alcohol. My friend complained to me without holding back. I remained silent. What he said was true. Those works were completed by me and my deskmate. Every time it was about to finish, Lin would ask to hand it over to Harry. That's why Harry's style is so varied. Even someone outside the company could see the problem. But Lin seemed completely unaware. I wanted to decline. My friend got angry. This isn't a gift for you. It's deducted from your salary. Don't disappoint me. I naturally thought. The price of this car. If it's really deducted from my salary, at my income, it'd take years to pay off. I knew this was just my friend's excuse, so I didn't refuse again and apologized to him. But he said a few more words. We all ordered designated drivers. Each went home separately. I thought Lin hadn't come back yet, but when I opened the door, I saw him sitting on the living room sofa. Where did you go? Wasn't it agreed we'd meet? Do you know how long I waited? Lin asked angrily. I was a bit surprised. Usually when he and Harry go out, it's till the early morning, 3 or 4 a.m., and today he came back so early. Really strange. Thinking of him and Harry hugging in the hotel, I felt sick. Went out to eat with friends. I said that and walked into the living room, taking the power of attorney out of my bag. I had only taken a couple of steps when Lin suddenly stopped me. He frowned. You're still drinking? Didn't I tell you not to drink when I'm not around? I couldn't help but wonder. Did he mean that I could only drink when I was helping him socialize? I said nothing. But Lin seemed to realize something. Suddenly, he smiled. His face was covered in acne scars. You're still mad because I went out with Harry, aren't you? If you didn't want me to eat alone with him, just say so. Why drink so much then? You're overthinking. My drinking has nothing to do with you too. I steadied myself on a chair and sat down, handing him the house sale power of attorney. Take a look at this. Lin raised his eyebrows. Instead of looking proud, it seemed like he wanted to see what kind of guarantee it was. I'll tell you. Apologizing now is already too late. I'm still dealing with the sound tester from this afternoon. Don't think some little tricks like this can make me forgive you. Seeing how smug he looked, I felt like maybe I really did make him angry before. And to cheer him up, I had handwritten a guarantee letter. Now that I think about it, he wasn't completely wrong, but it was me who handed over my pride, letting him trample on it. It wasn't a guarantee letter. It was a surprise, I said calmly. Lin raised his eyebrows. Curious, he was about to open it when my phone rang. Seeing the caller ID, his eyes lit up. Wait a moment. I have to take this call. Lin raised his hand and answered. Boss Lin, I hit someone with the car. What should I do? I'm so scared. Harry's voice was full of grievance. Lin's expression darkened. Send me the location. I'm coming over right now. After saying that, he stood up to leave, completely ignoring how I felt. I stepped in front of him into strides. I placed the power of attorney in front of him. So you want to deal with my matters first, huh? I was the one who started talking. Besides, this document needs a signature. It's quite urgent. Lin paused for a moment. He looked up at me briefly, then sighed. Jared, can't you show some empathy? He's more anxious over there than you are. The way you're acting, all jealous and stubborn. really makes you look bad. I felt like maybe I did look bad. That drunken Harry driving scene. I was too tired to argue with him. So I just put the power of attorney in his hand. With no intention of taking it back, Lynn said nothing more, flipping through the papers. Before he could even look closely, Harry's shrill scream came through the phone again. How could you hit someone? Boss Lynn, don't worry. I'm heading over right now. Lynn comforted Harry while hastily flipping to the last page. After signing, he clicked his high heels and left quickly. Watching his flustered retreating back, I couldn't help but ask, aren't you going to check what you just signed? What's the point of looking? The surprise you brought me is nothing more than a few small contracts. As long as you're sure the terms are okay. After saying that, he left without looking back. I could only laugh. In the past, to make him happy, I would secretly negotiate deals behind his back. At first, he was very happy, but as the company grew, he began to look down on those small companies that fought their way up just like him. Before every contract signing, he worried about mistakes, so he'd check the contract terms repeatedly. Now, worried about Harry. He doesn't even know what he just signed, but maybe that's for the best. It saved a lot of trouble. That night, Lynn didn't come back, but Harry sent me a lot of messages. Jared, I know you saw everything outside the private room, but you should also know. Lynn's heart leans toward me. One call from me, and he'd rush to me without hesitation. You'd better step back early. Otherwise, things will get ugly for everyone. I couldn't help but chuckle foolishly. It seemed Harry was truly trapped by the situation. I knew very well, even if I sent the chat logs to Lynn, it wouldn't help. He spoils Harry too much. Even when provoked, he'd only think I was trying to understand him. But I wasn't generous enough to ignore his repeated provocations, pretending to be invincible. Congratulations! But if one day Lynn gets tired of you, remember to step back on your own too. I knew this sentence wasn't very threatening, but once it was said, Harry's heart probably hardened. Sure enough, as soon as the message was sent, he quieted down. I also went to rest early. When dawn came, I sent the power of attorney with Lynn's name on it to the realtor. That afternoon, someone came to see the house. He was satisfied with the location, the layout, and price as well. But he was curious about my urgency to sell. How come such a nice house is sold for such a low price? Is there something wrong with it? He was cautious. I briefly told him. It was a new house I bought before, but the engagement with my fiancée was called off. He showed understanding. The yard and the decoration. This courtyard and the decoration were all done by my fiancée herself. She is a professional interior designer. The beer nodded approvingly. I could tell he was genuinely impressed. After some discussion, he decided to buy, and we quickly settled on the price. The sale went smoothly without any hitches. After the beer left, I sat back and sighed. This house held too many memories. I wasn't sure if I was selling a home or letting go of the past. The phone rang again. This time it was Lynn. Where are you? She asked anxiously. I told her I was finishing up some paperwork. She sighed in relief. I'll come by later then. I didn't want her to come, but I didn't say no. Maybe I was still holding on to something. Or maybe I just didn't want to be alone. Later that night, I stayed up thinking about everything that had happened. The broken engagement, the betrayal, the lies, but also about hope. Hope for a new beginning. For a future where I could finally be myself, and not the man everyone expected me to be. As the city lights flickered outside the window, I made a silent promise to myself to move forward no matter what, to find peace within the chaos, and maybe one day, to find happiness again. The night was long, but for the first time in a while, I felt a flicker of something like hope, something like a fresh start. And maybe that was enough for now. I put down my pen and closed the documents, ready to face whatever tomorrow might bring. With or without Lynn by my side. Because in the end, I had to be the one to save myself, and that was just the beginning. Is this because of me? I couldn't help but sneer. At that moment, Lin suddenly turned back for some reason. Seeing me, he straightened up a bit. Then, he instinctively slipped out from Han Young's arms. His expression looked a little guilty. "Why are you back at this time?" Han Young said. "I just felt like this was somehow my fault." Embarrassed. "Brother James, I was just asking how Mr. Lin washes vegetables." Don't get me wrong, though he said it out loud. His eyes looking at me were filled with pride and curiosity. He was impatiently waiting to see me break down. Jealous you. In the past, I probably would have gotten angry again. Had a big fight with Lin, threatened to kick Han Young out. But I had already gotten used to it. Besides, I was about to leave soon. The house had already been sold. The deposit was already in the account. I really didn't want to bother. "Then you two go ahead and be busy. I'll go into the house first," I said calmly, and stepped toward the bedroom. Han Young was stunned for a moment. His eyes showed some confusion, as if he didn't understand my reaction. Lin probably had already prepared for me to be angry. But seeing me so calm, his tone became a bit unnatural. Jin unexpectedly started explaining to me, "Today is Young's birthday. He wanted to spend it with us. So that's why I brought him over." If it were before, he wouldn't say so much. He would just roll his eyes at me, then coldly say, "If you don't like it, then leave." I was so conflicted inside that I didn't know what to think. I didn't care anymore. But he was the one explaining to me now. Still, I had to think. He couldn't even remember my birthday. Yet I was fortunate enough to celebrate Han Young's birthday. "Well then, enjoy your celebration," I said calmly and walked into the bedroom. Most of my things were already packed. The items I didn't use often had long been sent to the new rented place. Only some daily clothes and books remained here. I was just wondering whether to finish packing today. Suddenly, the door was pushed open. Han Young walked in, carrying a small piece of cake in his hand. He casually glanced around the room, then laughed out loud. The room was much emptier than the last time I came. "Looks like you've been obedient. Getting ready to leave." I ignored him, kept my head down, continuing to chat with friends on my phone about moving. Han Young, being ignored, pouted his face and took a few steps toward me. "I'm talking to you. Are you deaf?" I shot him a cold glance. "What's the point of caring so much anyway? You're not moving in here anyway." That simple sentence somehow enraged him. His face instantly darkened. He raised his hand to grab my collar. Before I could react, footsteps suddenly came from the door. Han Young threw the cake onto the floor. Jin cried out and fell to the ground. "What's wrong with Young?" Lin pushed the door open, pushed me aside roughly, quickly helped Han Young up. I staggered back a few steps. Shards of broken porcelain pierced my slippers and stabbed the heel of my foot. Fresh red blood quickly welled up from the wound, but Lin seemed not to notice. She just looked at Han Young with concern. The white scratch marks on her hand hadn't even faded. "Sorry, Mr. Lin. It's me again making Brother James angry. It's my birthday, and I wanted everyone to have some cake. So I gave Brother James a piece. But I didn't expect he didn't like cake." Han Young's eyes were red-rimmed. He looked at Lin with a helpless and lost expression. If I weren't involved, I might have been confused too. But I never said I didn't like cake. On the contrary, maybe because I rarely got birthday cake, I liked it very much. Every birthday I would keep talking about it. Lin even teased me before, saying few men liked cake as much as I did. But Han Young's presence almost made me forget my own taste. He pointed at me angrily. If you don't like it, can you just throw plates and shove people around? James, I thought you had learned your lesson, but you're still the same. Hurry up and apologize to Young. Otherwise, I can't bear a jealous husband like you. Let's just break up. He glared at me. His fierce look made me laugh. I couldn't help but think again about what I heard outside the private room that day, when things were worst before. He had threatened to break up with me too, but I couldn't bear it. Every time I was the first to soften and persuade him. Once I even humbly knelt to beg him, because I thought he didn't really want to break up. It was just his way to push me away and give me an excuse to back down. Only later did I realize he had probably planned to break up long ago. That's why he always brought it up so often. But that's fine. I was already planning to break up too. Even if he didn't say it now, I would make the move. Seeing me stay silent, Lin thought I was scared. His tone softened a lot. You've been acting all mysterious these days. Probably preparing for the wedding, right? I know you don't want to break up either. Apologize to Young now. Before Lin could say goodnight, I interrupted firmly. No, I agree to the breakup. Lin's smile instantly froze. Her eyes filled with disbelief. What did you say? I thought you wanted to break up. I agree, I said calmly. But in his tone, I sensed no joy at all. Only shock and anger. James, are you crazy? You want to break up with me over something so small? He stared wide-eyed at me. I didn't understand. Isn't breaking up what he wanted? I agreed. So why this attitude from him? Han Young also looked confused. He gently tugged his sleeve. Mr. Lin, this breakup was James's own idea. Maybe don't wait for him to finish. Lin suddenly shouted fiercely. Shut up, this is between us. You have no right to speak. This was probably the first time she had been so harsh to Han Young. Han Young was stunned instantly, mouth wide open, unable to say a word. Lin seemed to realize this. Quickly softened her voice. Apologized to him quietly. That's not what I meant. You go wait outside for me. This is between us. I don't want to drag you into it. Han Young hid his disappointment. A little unwilling. But he was smart. He knew better than to provoke Lin now. So he obediently left. After he left, Lin exhaled deeply. Just as she was about to speak, his gaze suddenly dropped to the floor. His voice softened. Your foot is injured. Why didn't you say anything? I'll go get a bandage. Saying that, he walked toward the bookshelf. But I knew. It was just him trying to change the subject. Whenever he heard something he didn't want to listen to, he would interrupt our conversation by pretending to care about me. Usually, I would soften, falling into the illusion that he still cared for me. The original problem would quietly be buried deep and unnoticed. But those conflicts were never resolved. They just slowly rotted inside me. And one day, they would be unearthed again, more ferocious than before. Bandage! I remember we had some before. Lin muttered to herself, searching through the bookshelf. But she seemed to forget. He hadn't been in my room for 2 years. Back then, I was sick with a fever of 40 degrees. And he went out on a date with Han Young. Since then, to make things easier to reach, I changed the location of the medicine box. James, why are there so few things left in your room? Lin finally noticed something was off. I didn't hide it from her. I sold the house. Already found a beer. The handover is in a couple of days. You should find someone to move your things out tomorrow too. Lin trembled slightly. She was about to lose her temper, but then it seemed she remembered something. Suddenly, she laughed softly. Stop it, this house partly belongs to me too. Without my signature, how could you sell it? Is that okay, James? I know you're angry. I'll have Young leave right now, so don't make a scene. Is that alright? He still didn't believe my words. I picked up the sales contract from the table and handed it to him. At the bottom was also a power of attorney in his name. The agent said as long as there was this authorization, it was valid. By the way, the authorization is from Han. You remember it was signed the day Yu Yang got caught driving drunk. If you don't remember, it doesn't matter. It still holds legal effect. Lin took the contract, and when she flipped to the last page, her body suddenly tensed. After a brief pause, he suddenly yelled at me hysterically, without my permission. "Who let you sell the house?" I sneered. "I don't want a penny from the company, but I paid the full price for this house. It's reasonable for me to manage it. Besides, I remember you bought Han Young a new house in the suburbs before. You're not homeless either. You can move there. Reason and feeling wise, there's nothing wrong with me selling the house." Lin was speechless. Her face turned pale. I thought next he would naturally agree to break up, but unexpectedly, he forced himself to calm down. "The doctor explained to me. That house was a gift I wanted to give you, not for Han Young. Putting his name on it was just to give him a sense of belonging. If you mind, I can cross his name off another day. We've been together for so many years. How could we just break up so easily? James, I know you're angry right now, but calm down first. Let's talk about this tomorrow." After speaking, he turned and left silently. It was always like this. Whenever we argued fiercely, he would pretend to still love me and tell me to calm down on my own. Every time, I was the first to hypnotize myself, convincing myself to believe him, not to be impulsive. Then I would take the initiative to ease the tension, apologize to him, and reconcile again. At first, I really loved her. But later, I realized her heart was no longer with me. Yet I couldn't let go of the years we shared. I always felt it was worth enduring, that after passing this contradiction, things would get better. But after so long, nothing had improved. It was all just my wishful thinking. He probably thought I would still be controlled by him like before. But he was wrong. This relationship had long been worn down by endless disappointments. After Lin left, I cleaned up the broken porcelain shards on the floor and tended to my wounds. By the time I was ready to go out, Lin and Han Yu Yang had already left. Leftover food was on the table. A half-burnt candle lay on the floor. I was always responsible for cleaning the house. I never let Lin lift a finger. Over time, he got used to it. I was too lazy to clean up, thinking anyway it would be clean before handing over the house. So I planned to hire a cleaner tomorrow. After washing up, I rested. But early the next morning, when I stepped out, I saw the room had already been cleaned. Yin Yang was standing in the kitchen. I didn't know what he was busy with. "I was just about to call you." Lin smiled as he looked at my calm expression, as if nothing had happened yesterday. "I've already cleaned the house. Even disinfected it, especially. If it were before, I definitely would have pretended. I couldn't see a single one. The glass was left with waterless streaks and faint spots from mopping." Then I praised him with satisfaction, giving him enough emotional value. But now I only chuckled foolishly. A lifetime of sweet whispers between us. Lincoln noticed my cold mood. He looked a little disappointed, but he quickly smiled again and brought out to breakfasts. "This is freshly made by me. You try it." I glanced over. It was two cheeseburgers. They looked quite presentable. Honestly, this should be Lincoln's first breakfast made for me. It was supposed to be touching, but he seemed to have forgotten I was allergic to cheese. Lincoln's expression changed slightly. He hurriedly asked me to redo it. "Stop doing such futile things. A peaceful breakup is better for both of us." At the annual dinner party, he clearly remembered Han you didn't like to eat. Lamb was disliked. Ginger was disliked. But he forgot that I once accidentally had a severe allergic reaction. The current wish, Love and no love are so obvious. But Lincoln didn't seem to think so. He irritably listed these types. There's no overnight grudge between married couples. I said I had already humbled myself and done these things. Why do you still have to be so picky? Besides, I'm busy with company matters every day. Isn't sending the wrong thing normal? I nodded. Our breakup was also normal. Lincoln finally got angry. He slammed the tray heavily on the table, making a loud noise. He preferred to glare at me. Eventually, completely losing patience, he slammed the door and left. That was the beginning of our Cold War. I sighed helplessly. In the end, I still asked the cleaning staff to help tidy up. At the same time, I packed up Lincoln's things and sent them to his suburban address. Usually, when he went on business trips, I helped him pack. So finishing all this didn't take much time. The house was smoothly handed over at the agreed time. Lincoln seemed to finally realize that this breakup of mine wasn't a threat. He sent me a message to mock me. When he saw I didn't react, he frequently posted photos with Han Yu in his moments. During this time, I was busy dealing with onboarding matters. By the time I noticed, there were several messages marked as important on my phone. Only then did I realize that today he posted a photo of him and Han Yu at the wildlife park. Tomorrow, a photo of them riding a hot air balloon. The day after, he posted about the company doing well, taking Han Yu to Bali for a vacation reward. While filming, he even deliberately showed off the couple rings on his middle finger, captioned with the sad are always reckless. But no one knew. Only children who can't cry should taste more bitterness. I knew he was deliberately provoking me, waiting for me to get jealous and angry and beg him to come back. Then he would arrogantly lay out a series of conditions to me. But I really didn't care. Just as I was about to exit the page, I accidentally liked one of his moments, worried it might cause unnecessary trouble. I immediately undid it. Afterward, calmly unfollowed his moments as special attention and continued focusing on work. Because of my arrival, some projects at my friend's company became more complete, and the business talks reached a cooperation deal worth over $100 million in profit. That day, my friend and I were getting ready to attend an appointment, talking about the project contract. Lincoln, for the first time, he unexpectedly sent me a message. It was a picture. Curious, I clicked it open. What appeared before my eyes was a report. A prenatal checkup report bearing Lincoln's name. What did I feel? The next second, Lincoln messaged me again, but I didn't reply. He quickly teased, I'm just messing with you. This report is fake. But you don't ask yourself, when you saw this prenatal report, wouldn't you really feel jealous? Could you really accept that I'm carrying someone else's child? I found it somewhat amusing, but hadn't realized it just now. Only after he said that did I realize. Usually, when I saw him with other men, jealousy would surge within me. My face would flush, heart beat faster. But now, I glanced at myself in the mirror. My expression was calm, as always, peaceful. Even the heart rate on my wristband reminded me that for Lincoln to belong to someone else, I had fully accepted it. Originally, I didn't want to come back, but recalling Han Yu's previous teasing, I was too lazy to stir up trouble. So I kindly told him, since you already have a new boyfriend, don't bring up topics without boundaries anymore. It's easy for your new boyfriend to misunderstand. Scrolling back a few minutes, Lincoln's chat window showed he was typing back and forth for a few minutes. Finally, he replied, go ahead and pretend. I want to see how long you can keep it up. If you didn't still love me, why would you care so much about me? Don't think I don't know. You saw that I secretly liked your post. I found it somewhat amusing. Before, Lincoln never paid attention to me, nor to these little details. It seems that since he's been with Han Yu, he really has changed. He hadn't changed in the 9 years we were together. But for Hanyu, he changed, refusing to talk to me. Lincoln went on, saying that during this time, nothing happened between Han and me. He was willing to cooperate with me. Also, we could get back together. For his sake, I gave him one last chance. I smiled lightly. No need, I said, then hung up. Maybe he still thought I'd heard from his provocation, but it didn't matter. With time, he'd understand. I truly wanted to break up with him. At the same time, I was clear. His current attempts to win me back weren't because he still loved me. He was just worried that if our breakup late, people would gossip. Being ambiguous with Hanyu was one thing, but breaking up with me because of Hanyu was something else entirely. I ignored him, continuing to focus on my career. That night, my friend and I successfully negotiated the cooperation project. My friend was very happy. He dragged me to meet several bosses in the same industry. At the first meeting, my friend introduced me as his partner. They immediately treated me with great respect. I was pleasantly surprised. Before, when I was by Lincoln's side, although I accompanied him to meet bosses in the same circle, he always treated me like a naive employee. Over time, those bosses didn't respect me. They even made me run errands and buy things. But I can't blame him either. After all, indulging him was also the old me. After a few rounds of drinks, we got more and more on the same wavelength. At some point, one of the bosses suddenly lowered his voice and asked me, "Zhang Yan, have you offended someone? I just found out. You've been blacklisted in my industry." To make me believe, he even showed me the records. This was internal information in their field. To avoid mistakes, the upper management circulated a blacklist of people with bad conduct or a criminal record. I saw my name and photo clearly listed. The reason: disobedient to management, unable to cooperate with colleagues, jealous of new talents, no second thoughts. I also knew who was behind it. Seeing my silence, the boss said without hesitation, "Brother, I know you're not that kind of person. Someone must be messing with you. Don't worry, I'll take your name off right now." After speaking, he deleted my information. I nodded to him deeply, but inside I couldn't help but bitterly smile. Luckily now I have friends to help. But if I were an ordinary job seeker, once on that list, how could they find their way forward? That blacklist, although it helps companies avoid mistakes, no one verifies its truthfulness. People only decide based on stereotypes. The wrongfully accused suffer more and more. Those talented ones, after repeated blows, will inevitably lose their courage to push forward. What are they supposed to do then? My friend called us, saying we were still chatting. Drunk and swaying, he hooked his arm around our shoulders and led us back to continue drinking. When the party ended, my friend and I saw them all off to their cars. My friend went aside to call his girlfriend. I stood at the hotel entrance waiting for the designated driver. Not long after, I heard a voice behind me. "Brother Zhang Yan, what are you doing here?" I turned around and saw Hai Yang and Lin Enwen not far off. Han Yu Yang's arm draped around Lin Enwen's waist, their bodies pressed close, looking like a couple madly in love. Seeing me, Han Yu Yang chuckled softly. Then he lowered his voice to Lin Enwen and said, "President Lin, I get it now. Brother Zhang Yan must be here looking for you. You to talk first. I'll go away for a bit." After speaking, he started to leave. But I could tell he had no intention of actually going anywhere. Sure enough, Lin Enwen suddenly pulled him close, pressed your body against his chest, showing me their affection openly. "You're not an outsider. Why avoid me?" she said proudly, then gave me a cheeky glance. "Didn't you say not to be so cautious? Then why are you even here? But let me tell you, it's already too late. Zhang Yan, you've lost your chance. Her tone was completely different from the usual gentle look she usually showed in front of Han Yu-yang. I knew she misunderstood. I started to explain. My friend and I just came for a meal, and we're about to leave. Han Yu-yang burst out laughing. Sorry, brother Zhang Yan, I just couldn't hold it in. But I didn't expect, now that you're out of a job, you'd still be willing to be so extravagant. Dining at a place like this with friends. I could tell. His words were mocking me for pretending to be richer than I was. Zhang Yan,